He actually played against Zoka, and that's kind of funny because Hasu plays against Zoka, of course, all the time. Yep. And look how ridiculously quick. Killer sends a probe across the map. But Hasu, that's a weird position. I do not think he can hide 2 gates. He can hide 1 gate over here. Yeah. Second gate is going to have to be over here. It's not as greedy as the one that Hasu did against Grubby on Entombed Valley, but what better way to start off a PvP best of 5 than with a proxy gate?
No, too true.
Wow,
no,
Hasu 11 gate.
He might actually end up hiding. Oh wow, yeah, he's actually going to get his gate down before a killer in this situation. Yeah. He's probably just going to end up going for the 1 gate, I would think, and then going for maybe a little bit of a harassment there, trying to go for maybe the cybernetics core back at home as well. Although he hasn't got any probes going just yet. So.
I don't think you can do that. No, that's way too much of an investment. If you lose that pylon, you lose that gateway, you can really not fall back on a cybernetics core opening. It's really risky unless you go for an 8 gate and your zealots do ridiculously amount of damage. But at 10 supply, that's not going to work. Hasu, normally a guy who always checks his base, certainly on a 2-player map. He should be aware of this fact. I mean, right now I still think Hasu is okay, but the moment Hasu is going to drop that cybernetics core, I am afraid that he's going to do that because he's going to mine gas right now, and his probe still does not have vision of Killer's base. The core does go down for Hasu, and right now he's already in quite a bit of trouble. Yeah. And with the 11 gate, as we can see, he's up 17 supply. If this probe finishes, that means that Hasu cannot actually build. You have to cancel that probe, Hasu. If you do not cancel that probe, you can't build a zealot.
Oh, it just comes out. And for now, he does know it's there. So this is almost slightly retribution here for Hasu. He was able to pull this off on Entombed Valley against another Protoss here. And now Killer bringing almost exactly the same thing. And Hasu is going to feel really, really bad at this situation.
Hasu is not even going to build a zealot right now. He's going to try to survive with Stalkers, but he's going to have to show off the best probe micro of all time. Yeah. He's going to need a small miracle.
He really, really is, and I mean, I can't emphasize enough. You know, in PvP, you've got to be able to scout your base, especially when it's just pretty much a 1v1 map with the cross positions reinforced. And this pylon is going to go down, and the cybernetics core gets underpowered.
No, but the gate is at least still powered, so he has that Stalker. But Stalkers do so low DPS compared to Zealots, and soon we are going to have 5 Zealots, and I think it's absolutely impossible to micro against 5 Zealots. Pretty smart by Hasu right now, using those probes. He's going to try to take out that pylon. Killer is going to focus this pylon for now, and with 2 Stalkers, he's actually going to get a Zealot after the Stalker, but Hasu already lost quite a few probes.
Meanwhile, we have a Forge going down for Killer, so he's preparing for the worst if this even does fail, but right now doing huge amounts of damage, denying a ton of mining time, getting good hits on that Stalker, but it does eventually get away. This 1 Zealot for Hasu, though, going to end up dying.
Yes, indeed. He's going to start picking away at this 1 Zealot. He will pick off 1 Zealot, but does it really matter? What is Hasu going to try to do? He's just going to try to win the game with probes and Stalkers. Of course, the Stalker can out-micro Zealots until the dawn of days, but as you mentioned, that Forge is going up. Killer is ready for this. Killer knows that how can I still lose this game? Okay, if that 1 Stalker somehow kills all my units, let's get a cannon. That's something that the Stalker will never be able to kill. And the Killer is, he's just going to straight out win this game from now on.
Yeah, Hasu sending all the probes over there for one kind of desperate attempt making something work, but so many Zealots here for Killer. He's taking a very, very nice lead, and this is going into a best of 5 in a PvP just in general. This is really kind of brutal to start off.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, you're going to hate yourself for not checking the edges of your base. And what's really funny is something that I will mention soon. Killer has that cannon right now, and I think this is the moment when Hasu is just going to realize that this is a game that can't be won anymore. Well, not yet. As I mentioned, Hasu always has the never give up spirit. Hasu does not leave games early on, not even when he has 7 supply left. He's going to try to make something happen, but
GG.
It is GG. Killer takes this first map with a proxy gate. And you know what's actually the saddest part for Hasu? He used to play 11 gate for quite a while. We used to actually talk about that back in the days, and when he went to Spain for that tournament he played against Zoka, he went 11 gate every single game. But there is one big problem with 11 gate. If you do not scout your opponent's base in time and he's proxying you, you end up with 17 out of 18 workers, and then you can actually build a Zealot as quick as you normally can. So cancelling the core and still try to get Zealot out is not going to work, because that second pylon comes way after the core, while with any other Protoss builder your second pylon comes before the core, and you could actually still get that Zealot out. Even then it's going to be really hard if you don't scout it. But yeah, in this case scenario, you just dead. There's nothing you can do.
No, you're completely right. And it's really weird that Hasu, you know, I mean, he has this very macro-orientated style in PvP. So you would expect him in this situation to be taking extra precautions to be able to get to that point. Scouting around your base, for example, is actually just pivotal in this matchup. It most matchups.
Yeah.
So
certainly when you have 2 gateways in your base, man.
yes.
That's definitely a moment to scout. Anyway, guys, we're going to head over to a quick Twitch commercial, and we'll be right back with Hasu against coL, Game 2, so don't go anywhere. Okay. Apparently we are not going into a commercial, even though someone just told me that we are, but that doesn't really matter. The second map is going to be played on Entombed Valley. Hasu will play against coL once more. Once again, this is a forced cross-position map, but I can guarantee you that Hasu is going to check the outskirts of his base.
And we can guarantee that coL will as well, after seeing Hasu try and pull it off against, pull it off successfully in the group stages. And, you know, Entombed Valley being forced cross positions, there's a ton of area where you're able to kind of get a lot of vision on the map via hiding pylons, things like that. In the open bases, for example, able to kind of drop down pylons to be able to catch maybe Warp Prism Harassment if it's going to be coming in this matchup. So I think, you know, Hasu is probably going to be able to get himself into a macro game here, but we'll have to see.
Well, the game is live, so let's go, and we will see that MouzCC is once more our blue Protoss on the left top side of this map, and Complexity Killer is our red Protoss on the right bottom side of this map. And a couple of things I still really wonder about. Why did Hasu go with 11 gate, which is a style that he used to play back in the days, but he hasn't been playing for so long. I've seen Hasu's recent PvP. Maybe he just want to get a quicker gate in case he would get 4 gated, and obviously it's quite easy to stop a 4 gate with an 11 gate.
Yeah.
But it still really confuses me because, yeah, I've seen a lot of Hasu's PvP lately in the German EPS, and I've played against him as well, and he just really does that build anymore. So I'm really kind of thrown off why he would go for that. Not like it's a bad decision, not at all, but yeah, in this case scenario it was. I'm just wondering about the reason and what he's going to follow it up with, and if he's going to do it again.
Yeah, I don't mind the decision too much. You know, if you're going into a PvP best of 5, in the you know, to begin with, you're wanting to not necessarily want to go one game down very quickly, taking a slight extra precaution to be able to deal with anything that does come along. But also, you have to couple it with doing some nice scouting, and we just didn't see Hasu kind of fully achieving that in that game. But interesting initial pylon placement here by Hasu, maybe kind of for a little bit more of a defensive position against 4-gate, you would think.
Maybe, even though it's a bit too far off, but yeah, he could potentially make at least some sort of a wall.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how he straight away checked the corners of his base, wanted to make sure. Now he's even checking the natural, so Hasu is definitely paranoid enough for the rest for the rest of the series. He's even gonna check the turret, so Hasu is getting really paranoid right now, seeing ghosts and everything. What rocks? There must be gateways behind it.
And you know, again, as you said, that's going to throw him off for the rest of the series. He's going to be doing this every game. That probe's going to get to his opponent's base just a little bit later. Obviously not going to be able to deny too much scouting because there won't be a Stalker out for a while, especially since this is cross-force positions. So, you know, taking those precautions, very important, but, you know, not as efficient as normal.
I think he just built it here because he wants to check the outskirts of his base straight away, and when he knew there was no probe in his base, at least if there's still going to be a probe in his base, he will see it, he will spot it straight away because the gateway actually gives vision of the ramp. So I guess that's the whole reasoning behind it. Once more, why I was surprised is that Hasu has lately been doing this build order from the Russian Protoss, Roxkiss Freya, who opens up with double Zealot, and then adds a couple of Stalkers, which in my opinion looked like a really solid build order. Second gas is a little bit delayed, and from there on he's going to transition it into 4-gate Robo and Twilight Console, which might seem like a bit of an overkill, but somehow it adds up in the long run. Yeah,
in fact, you know, we had quite a long, lengthy discussion about that, didn't we? And you swayed my opinion. I kind of assumed that, you know, the 2 Zealot opening was a bit kind of not required, as it were, but your reasoning behind it, you know, being able to deal with maybe early aggressions from Stalkers and things like that, really kind of does work out, because you can't necessarily micro that well against those 2 Zealots.
No, obviously in the open field you cannot micro Zealots, but when there are Stalkers backing up those Zealots as well, you're going to have a really hard time, and you'd rather attack Stalkers, but then you're going to need some sick micro to dodge the Zealots all the time. So I like that opening. I played against it as well, and I was like, wow, Hasu, that's actually quite legitimate what you're pulling off right now. He's like, yeah, it's not mine, but it's pretty good, right? And that's how I felt, but no, he's not going for it. Now, once again, he's just opening 1 Zealot into Stalker, and we'll see. I mean, on Entombed Valley, we've been talking about this throughout the entire tournament. Meanwhile, we see triple gateway opening over here for coL. He still has quite a bit of chrono boost, so he might go for a 5-6 Stalker, just pressure, run up that ramp, and see how much he will be able to achieve with that. And normally against a player who goes, for instance, 1-gate Robo or even 1-gate Console, you're able to do a little bit of damage.
And this really kind of, again, game 1 really shows the kind of paranoid situation that Hasu is in. Once again, as he threw down his 4th pylon, he ended up checking down in that location once again.
We see the first engagement right now. Hasu getting a couple of big shots, couple of big shots on his own Stalker straight away. He's going to try to micro against the Zealot of coL. He will be able to do this, but this is good. This is what coL wants. He wants Hasu's units in the middle of the map, because I thought he was going to build a pylon over here. He does not yet. He doesn't have those 3 warp gates ready yet, and I think this is sloppy by coL. Imagine if he had a pylon here right now. He would be able to warp in 3 Stalkers behind Hasu up to Stalkers. He would be able to take them all out.
Yeah, I really like the introduction that we've been seeing recently of this kind of 3-gate pressure in PvP. I mean, it's not necessarily the most new of things, but doing, trying to find little avenues of attack, trying to kind of really kind of mess with your opponent. I mean, it's PvP, man. It's a stressful time enough, let alone kind of having to deal with maybe some aggression poking him.
Really interesting by coL. He saved up quite a bit of energy, went for early 3-gate, did not use a warp in pylon to put on some real pressure. He did get a little bit of a scout off just by disengagement in the middle of the map. But then he went forward to drop down this Nexus, and he's getting a Twilight console. So, wow, quite ballsy play here from Complexity coL.
Yeah, too true. And right now, though, he's not fully committing to the econ. Only just now restarting that pro production. So he would have been able to be a little bit more defensive. Unless he'd actually continued to make those probes at that point in time. But I don't know what Hasu's going to do from here. I mean, considering it is Hasu, probably going to see him go for that kind of macro style. It's not often that you end up seeing Hasu go for those kind of one-base, risky, all-in kind of situations.
No. There is a small problem though, because right now if Hasu is who is going to spot this Nexus, he's going to be quite far behind. He's like, oh man, he already has an expand. He can of course drop down his own Nexus, but still that's going to be much later. Right now coL has 1 worker lead, which is not a big deal, but if he keeps boosting his Nexus right now, which he will do if he realizes that Hasu is going to expand, because then he has the freedom to do so, Hasu is going to fall behind.
I'm actually quite curious. Hasu seems to... I mean, he's got the Robo-Bay warping in, so he might end up actually getting really aggressive off this 1 base.
Yeah, it could still be the Warp Prism speed upgrade as well, or it could be a one base Colossus play. And since he is getting an expand now, I'm going to say that he will probably go for Colossus, because I do not think he wants to send out 2 Immortals, since then his ramp would just be too vulnerable against Blink Stalker harass.
Yeah, he's going to be relying on the fact that his tech is a little bit earlier than his opponent, as opposed to the economy. I mean, obviously, in the earlier stages of the game, if you can get a superior economy in comparison to your opponent, then ultimately you could potentially even throw down that second Robo a little bit faster and keep up with your opponent's Colossus count anyway. But Hasu's going to try and eke out his advantage in this direction, and we'll see how it goes.
Yep, he has it. The Robotics Bay has not used it yet, but I'm quite sure he's just going to transition into Colossus play. coL is going to be a little bit ahead. Probe-wise. More importantly, he's already mining from 2 bases, and even more importantly, from 3 Vespian Geysers or Assimilators. Now we do see Thermal Lens being started for Hasu, so yes, from now on, Hasu is going to do what he does best, and that is just be passive for a long time, because he knows, I can be aggressive right now. coL has the better opening, he has the better economy. It makes absolutely no sense for me to be aggressive. I'm just going to sit back and get my own economy going. Exactly how you mentioned, maybe get that second robotics facility a bit quicker than his opponent. So even though his economy might not be as good as the one of coL, as long as he has a Colossus lead, he might be fine.
Yeah, and indeed, I was actually panicking for coL a little bit. I didn't see a Robo going down until just recently, and that's always a bit of a scary situation to be in PvP. But it looks to get a little bit aggressive with that Blink potentially, and that containment possibilities are always endless with Blink.
It's going to take out this Destructible Rock, so at least if he goes up somewhere, he will have 1 more exit pad without using Blink. Hasu realizing what happened, I think he heard the Blink animation going down, perhaps wants to drop some force fields. coL goes for the offensive Blink and picks up that Sentry with 200 energy. Nice win right there for coL, brilliant move. I love that, these snap decisions, instantly realizing, okay, he's on the back foot, if I Blink right now, I pick up a unit, I won't lose anything. Really nice move by coL.
Sorry, especially a Sentry. I mean, 200 energy on that 4 force fields can be pivotal in the later stages.
Hasu leaving his Immortals were kind of exposed over there. I think coL perhaps could have gone for a Blink. He's going to try to make something happen. He does a lot of damage to 2 Stalkers of Hasu as well. Hasu needs to buy time, he knows it. As soon as he has Thermal Lens, he's going to have an easier time to deal with these Blink Stalkers. But without Thermal Lens, he's going to have to be passive. That's why he's making a lot of units right now. He's even adding a lot of gates. I think 1 more gate. Hasu's just going to try to all in quite quick. so he's not going to be as passive as we predicted. There's no way Hasu is going to ever try to go for another base.
Oh, and yes, indeed, Killer has to be careful now that that thermal lance is finished. These Colossus will be able to vastly outrange those Stalkers, although, you know, the Blink Micro can save them quite nicely. And from here, you know, it's sometimes really, really interesting. In the earlier compositions of PvP, when you only really have the Immortals, it's so ridiculously important to keep them alive if you're going to be going up against somebody with Blink Stalkers.
Oh, Hasu's going to have to be careful. Killer is going to try to blink in, pick off Colossus, and that's a really big victory. He will end up losing at least one Stalker. But yeah, a Stalker for a Colossus, I make that trade any day of the week.
Yep, this is almost exactly the point I was going to be making with the Immortals. Having them to back up your Colossus so that kind of thing cannot happen is really important, but he got that one Colossus out of position there, and that was brutal there for Hasu.
It's really brutal, certainly, because I still feel that Hasu wants to win this game on 2 bases, because he just threw down so many gateways, so anything else wouldn't make sense, and then losing a Colossus, the most important unit of your PvP army, at least in this phase of the game, is crucial. Now Killer is chrono boosting out 2 Colossus as well, and if he is able to just save a little bit of time, let's say 60 more seconds or even 40, he's going to be more than fine. He's going to have 3 Colossus. He's going to be the one with the Colossus advantage. And I don't see how Hasu is ever going to win this game, despite having a even less army supply.
Yeah, indeed. All these little edges that Killer's been able to eke out here have been fantastic. It looks like we might have an engagement. Guardian Shield goes up here, and it will indeed commence as we do have a blink forward for Killer. Very, very nice indeed. Tries to focus down that Colossus, but it actually moves back and saves itself.
Wow, nice micro by Hasu, once again keeping that one Colossus alive. And Killer was not really microing that Colossus, so right now it looks a little bit better for Hasu. But all that Killer wanted is just to survive a little bit longer, because he's going to have 3 Colossus. I think he's missing a rally point.
Rightly so, trying to keep that Colossus in the back as safe as possible. It has such little hit points there, would go down in literally a shot from that Immortal, so he needs to keep that very, very safe. And for now, Hasu, he needs to make something happen. He really does. He's so far down on probes right now, almost 10 probes down here, and, you know, Killer, he's in an amazing position with those 2 robos.
He is, and he's +1 as well. Hasu is still 0-0, but despite all that, I actually kind of like that Hasu is backing off right now. He tried to make this happen, tried to make this work with all these gates, but he knows if he has more Colossus than me, and he's going to have the defender advantage as well, it just makes no sense. I can try and I can die. He's going to spot the main base of Hasu. He's going to know what time it is, and Killer should actually, well, he's going cybernetic score, so he's going to try to deal with this with Stalkers. If Hasu loses his probe, and he's sending a second probe, I think that's very safe. Otherwise, his entire life would come down to this probe. But actually, he will be able to build a cannon on the high ground. Wow.
That is perfect placement.
I did not expect that cannon to be able to build with this pylon. Wow, Hasu really did his homework.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this is still going to take quite a while to edge his way over to his opponent's base.
But it's much more likely now.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And I mean, that cannon down on the low ground is going to be very, very annoying. But Killer's, Killer's kind of crisis management in this situation can be really, really strong.
Hasu is not a guy who takes risk like this normally, though, if he's not very, very confident with the build he is. So I guess we're going to see 2, 3, 4 cannons going down right now. And what is Killer going to do? He's going to boosting out Stalkers, but really have the DPS to really deal with these. Oh, this cannon is actually not covering those cannons. I think Hasu could have built them 1 line back.
Yeah, I think he's trying to build them in range of the Nexus, but kind of overextending like that just a little bit earlier on can be decisive. One of these cannons will indeed end up getting up potentially here, as 3 more are on the way, and it's all about cancelling them, making sure you don't let any die, getting those minerals back. And that cannon,
it's going to be so close. The cannon is taking so much damage. We have 2 Stalkers up right now. This cannon will fall, and so far this is absolutely brilliant defense by Killer.
Yeah, indeed. Chrono boosting out those Stalkers, very, very strong indeed. Imagine if Hasu had kind of made those cannons a little bit further back in order to be able to get coverage with that cannon at the back there.
This one cannon will go up actually, and we'll finally do some real damage to the Stalkers, but still we already have another Stalker spawning. Hasu will lose this cannon, taking out 1 Stalker, but I don't think this is going to be enough. Hasu can't afford to make more cannons than this anymore. I mean, he can't keep this up.
No, indeed. This is going to be very, very difficult as Killer just chrono boosting out those Stalkers profusely. Another gate going down here right now. He's hardly lost a single probe in this. 2 workers killed. Oh,
Killer's not fighting with his 1 Stalker. Hasu does cancel this 1 cannon, but he's going to be forced to cancel this cannon as well. What an amazing defense by Complexity Killer, and I actually think he has done it.
Yep, such strong prioritizing here for Killer, taking down those cannons that are just going to be warping him as quickly as possible. And, you know, Hasu, I mean, he's not going to give up. He's Hasu, but I mean, he's fighting from an almost impossible winnable situation here.
And how awesome is it that Killer during all this is just like, all right, I think I stabilized. I'm going to get a Nexus straight away. If this guy's not going to leave, I'm going to make sure I'm going to have the biggest advantage in history.
Hasu, meanwhile, trying to cannon that Nexus. I mean, that could work if he's actually a little bit slacking on his scouting, but it's going to take a lot of cannons.
Yeah, Hasu realizes that's not going to work because, I mean, he would have to build 4 or 5 cannons, then he can't do anything else. And Killer already has 3 Stalkers. He could warp in because his warp gates are already... He's getting 2 more additional gates as well. So I guess first he's going to try to 4-gate, but Hasu is pretty well prepared. And when he's going to spot, okay, that doesn't work, I'm just going to expand and I'm just going to sit on my amazing economy, and it's going to be 2 base Protoss against 1.
Yeah. Second gas is on the way for Hasu, so... DTs? if you're in trouble, it's like... Quick, let's go. No, I don't know. He may end up doing, of course, that's always a possibility, but we may end up seeing Hasu just going to attempt some macro mode, but that Stalker...
We may end up seeing Hasu just die right now because that cannon will die, and Hasu scores GG. What a performance from Complexity Killer, and he will advance to the quarterfinals.
Just manhandled.
I really did not expect this round of 16 to be over that quick.
No, that was... so fast.
This is the quickest best of 5 I've ever seen with Hasu Ops. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, actually. Now that I think about it, yeah. Oh, wow. But Killer, a phenomenal play.
I can't help to wonder that if Hasu Ops would have built that cannon line, let's say 1 square back, he would have still been in range of both Vespian geysers. I even believe he would be in range of the left bottom mineral patches. So basically that base would still be in a world of trouble. And then actually his cannon would have covered those upcoming cannons, because that little DPS of those probes actually makes a difference between those cannons going up or not, because they helped out a ton. And I really think if he would have been covering those cannons, those probes wouldn't have been able to help, and then the Stalker wouldn't have enough DPS to kill 2-3 cannons.
I think though the back cannon, the one that he builds on the high ground, it wouldn't have been in range of the Stalkers. So
no, that's okay. I mean, it's all about the first cannons that go up, in my opinion. And those probes, they helped out a ton. If those probes wouldn't have been able to attack the cannon, then I do not think that he will have enough Stalkers in time to cancel all those cannons.
I wasn't factoring in the probes. That's so true.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. There's no one next to me. I thought there was going to be a caster panel. I think there will be a caster panel, though, in just a matter of seconds. It's probably going to be MouzCC. Oh no, actually I think we're going to have an interview with the winner. Of course, we're not going to have a game analysis anymore. Man, I'm completely thrown off by this best of 5.
Too true.
What we can talk about is just a little bit about what happened to the grid right now. What is the players? What is the current state? We're going to have 3 all-Korean quarterfinals, which is it's going to be MMA against Zenio. It's going to be JYP against Puma, MC versus Violet, and Feast is going to play PvP against the same Killer we just saw beat Hasu Ops.
An EG team kill. That's going to be pretty crazy, actually. I can't remember the last time I see JYP and Puma actually play one another, so I'm very, very interested in that series.
I'm very interested as well. Anyway, guys, we'll play a short commercial break, and then we'll be right back with an interview with the winner, Complexity Killer. Alright guys, welcome back. Complexity Killer has joined us, as you can see, and yeah, we're just gonna have to ask him a couple of questions about this amazing quick best of 5. Well, first of all, I'd say let's start with game 1. Killer, why did you decide to proxy gate?
프록시 게이트를 왜 하셨는지? 프록시 게이트를 왜 하셨는지?
본진 게이트?
네.
상대방을 분석한 결과 이게 바로 먹힐 것 통할 것 같아서.
He analyzed his opponent and he thought it would be very good against him.
Well, all right.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
Straight and forward. The second game was basically the only real game that we had to see. Of course, all games are real games, but it was actually a long, drawn-out game. I was kind of wondering about the opening. First, I thought that he would go for Stalker aggression, which he did not do. Then he went for the really quick Nexus. I would just love to hear the thought process of Killer, what he was thinking during that game, and why he made the decisions that he made.
두 번째 게임에서는 이제 블링스토커를 한 줄 알았는데 넥서스를 빨리 줬잖아요. 무슨 생각을 하면서 그런 빌드를 짰는지.
첫 경기에 좀 공격적인 빌드로 상대방을 이제 휘둘러서 상대방이 좀 위축되게 경기할 줄 알고 조금 첫 경기를 했던 걸 이렇게 이용해서 좀 편하게 경기했던 것 같아요.
He thought after the first game where he played very aggressive, it would be very good to play economic build after this. So the opponent still has to think about the aggression from the first game, and that's worked really good.
Yeah, those mind games in PvP are really important. Of course, last but not least, I must say, amazing cannon defense on Cloud Kingdom. I was just wondering if he has faced this strategy before, because he seemed to know exactly what he needed to do.
I don't understand.
I'll repeat it. I think on the Cloud Kingdom he defended the cannons really well, and it seemed like he knew exactly what to do. I was just wondering if he has faced this before on this specific map.
이제 마지막에서 캔러시를 당했는데 엄청 잘 막으시더라고요. 그래가지고 뭐 그 전에도 그런 상황이 있었는지, 연습 때 그런 상황이 있었는지.
연습 때 단 한 번도 당해본 적이 없었고 조금 당황을 했는데 생각보다 캐논 러시 이렇게 위에 올라가서 짓는 타이밍이 늦어가지고 원래 다르게 대처하는데 타이밍을 보고 순간적으로 대처한 것 같아요.
Actually, he never played against a cannon rush on Cloud Kingdom, but the probe came a bit late up there to build the cannons, so it was pretty good to defend, and it was easy.
Okay, and actually, I have one question. Considering that Hasu is pretty damn strong in PvP, and you know, did you assume that the series was going to end up in a 3-0 kind of sweep, or did you expect a little bit more kind of resilience?
하수업이 이제 유럽에서는 잘하는 선수로 알려졌는데 PvP에서요. 근데 이제 3대 0으로 엄청 확실하게 이겼는데 그렇게 될 줄 알았는지.
그렇게 될 줄은 몰랐지만은 그래도 한국인이 스타크래프트 2에 그래도 자존심 있는 국가이기 때문에 외국 선수들에게 같은 종족전은 질 수 없다고 생각하고 있어요. 제 개인적인 마인드는.
He didn't expect a 3-0, but as a Korean Protoss player, he wanted to show that the Koreans are better. So
Awesome stuff, awesome stuff.
Well, all right, thank you, Complexity Killer, very much, and obviously congratulations for making it into the quarterfinals. This is not going to be it for us for StarCraft 2 today, though. Even though the official matches are over, we are at least going to have one game on the main stage as well, which will be an EPS game, the final of EPS Spring Cup number 3, if I recall correctly, between Alternate Dark Force and Alternate Cloud. That's going to be awesome. Yeah. But on this stream, we are going to have a free-for-all with a lot of Korean pros. I think MC is going to play, Puma is going to play, I think Apollo is in it as well. I think I will be playing too, and a couple of other guys, so that should be a lot of fun as well.
Do I get to cast that?
You might.
Oh my god, that would be so amazing. That'd be cool.
Well, that is what's coming up next, but we'll head over to a quick bumper, and after that we will inform you guys what time the free-for-all will start when everybody is ready, so don't tune out just yet. If you want to enjoy some free-for-all fun, stay tuned.
Once in a great while, something new comes along, and nothing is ever the same again. For computers, that moment is now. The second generation of Intel Core processors. Stunning visuals, intelligent performance. When you see it, you'll know it. And when you use it, you'll feel it. This is visibly smart.
Something is not right.
Don't worry, man. Phone, get down! Fast, fast! Make the switch! Oh, move! Do it now!
Got him.
I can't play with details? Not bad, huh?
I think it was this guy over here.
Gaming is in the details. BenQ XL series and RL series.
trying to find the perfect teammates or opponents? It's not that simple, but thanks to the new ESL versus matchmaking system, connecting has become easier and faster than ever before. Easily create your own matches or join without long waiting times. With just a few mouse clicks, your friends get an invitation to your game. ESL Versus always makes sure you get fair matches with opponents and teammates at exactly your skill level. And speaking of fair, ESL Wire's anti-cheat software keeps disruptive people off the server. Stay in touch with people in your buddy list and check their latest achievements. Every game has its own ranking system and also adds to your overall ESL rank. So no matter if you want to make it to the top or just enjoy straightforward gaming with your friends, Versus is here to connect.